Nature often looks like a brutal game where predators always come out on top, but survival is not always that simple. Many animals have developed amazing defenses that make them almost impossible to eat. Some are toxic, some taste terrible, and others use clever tricks to disguise themselves. These adaptations flip the rules of survival upside down, proving that raw strength isn't always the key to winning. What follows are some of the most incredible stories of creatures turning the tables on predators in ways you wouldn't expect. One of the best examples came from Hilton Head Island in South Carolina, where a small turtle managed to outsmart one of nature's most feared hunters, the alligator. Alligators have been around for millions of years, ruling rivers and swamps with their incredible bite force. They eat everything from fish and birds to, on rare occasions, even people. But this time the story ended very differently. A video that went viral showed an alligator clamping its jaws down tightly on a turtle. Normally this should have been the end. The gator's bite is strong enough to crush bone, yet the turtle had a secret weapon, its shell. Perfectly designed through millions of years of evolution, the shell absorbed the pressure and kept the turtle safe. No matter how many times the alligator tried to crush or swallow it, the turtle slipped free, almost like a bar of soap escaping from someone's hand. After several failed attempts, the alligator grew frustrated and eventually gave up. To everyone's surprise, the turtle simply walked away, alive and unharmed. This wasn't just luck. It was the perfect demonstration of how patience and natural defense can defeat even the strongest predator. Another dramatic encounter took place at a waterhole in Africa, where a crocodile learned the hard way that elephants are not to be underestimated. Crocodiles often wait patiently in shallow water, looking for the right moment to strike. On this particular day, a herd of elephants approached the water, and a crocodile seized its chance. In a flash, it lunged and bit down on a young calf's trunk. The baby cried out in panic, thrashing and trumpeting in fear. But elephants never leave their young unprotected. Within seconds, a massive adult, likely the matriarch, charged forward. With one powerful move, she forced the crocodile to release its grip. Outnumbered and overpowered, the reptile had no choice but to retreat. Yet the danger wasn't over. A second crocodile soon tried the same attack, and this time the baby fought back. Using its trunk and strong legs, the calf struck the crocodile repeatedly until it finally let go. What began as a dangerous ambush ended with the crocodiles embarrassed and possibly injured. These events revealed the intelligence and bravery of elephants and showed how even powerful predators can make deadly mistakes. An even stranger story unfolded in Indonesia's Komodo National Park, home to the world's largest lizards, the Komodo dragons. Known for their deadly bite, razor-sharp teeth, and venom-laced saliva, Komodo dragons can take down animals as large as deer and buffalo. They're at the top of their food chain, and nothing usually challenges them. But one incident proved that even these fearsome hunters can make fatal errors. Onlookers witnessed a Komodo dragon trying to swallow a large moray eel in one gulp. For a creature built to devour almost anything, this should have been routine. Yet within moments, the dragon started convulsing and vomiting violently. Experts later explained what happened. Many moray eels produce a slimy coating on their skin filled with natural toxins. These chemicals are meant to protect the eel from predators, making them dangerous to eat. The eel's toxic mucus triggered the Komodo dragon's body to reject it immediately, forcing the predator into a humiliating retreat. These encounters prove that survival in the wild is not always about who is the strongest or most aggressive. Sometimes it's the creature with the best defense, the most patience, or the cleverest adaptation that wins. A tiny turtle can outlast an alligator, a young elephant can fight off a crocodile, and even a deadly Komodo dragon can be brought down by an eel's hidden defenses. In nature's endless struggle between predator and prey, power alone isn't enough. Sometimes the smallest trick is all it takes to tip the balance. The Komodo dragon, overwhelmed by the eel's chemical defenses, had no choice but to vomit and abandon its meal. For such a powerful predator, this was an extremely rare and humbling sight. It revealed a hidden weakness in one of the world's most dangerous hunters and reminded us that even apex predators are not invincible. In Indonesia's wild food chain, this encounter also showed an ongoing arms race, where prey like eels evolve secret defenses strong enough to turn away even the top predators. Another incredible story comes from the Rocky Mountains, where a goat managed to turn the tables on one of the most feared hunters in North America, the mountain lion. Normally, mountain goats are seen as vulnerable. They don't have sharp claws, powerful jaws, or great speed. Most of the time, they avoid conflict and rely on the steep cliffs to keep them safe. But when cornered, even an animal considered easy prey can show unexpected courage. On a narrow cliffside, a mountain lion carefully stalked a goat, confident it was about to make an effortless kill. With the goat pushed to the edge, escape seemed impossible. Then the tables suddenly flipped. The goat cleverly shifted its position and climbed above the predator. From this higher ground, it became the one with the advantage. The goat lunged forward with its sharp horns, aiming directly at the lion. Startled and completely unprepared for the attack, the mountain lion scrambled to dodge and retreat. In moments, the confident hunter was reduced to fleeing for its life. This dramatic reversal showed that survival in nature is never guaranteed, and sometimes even the hunted can become the hunter. The same lesson plays out on the plains of Africa, where gazelles face their fastest enemy, the cheetah. Normally, when a cheetah targets a gazelle, the outcome seems certain. With unmatched speed and precision, the cheetah usually brings its prey down quickly. In one intense encounter, a cheetah successfully latched onto a gazelle, clawing and biting with deadly force. Soon, more cheetahs joined in, making the struggle look hopeless. But the gazelle refused to surrender. In a desperate surge of strength, it used its sharp horns to strike one of the predators. The counterattack caught the cheetahs off guard, scattering them in shock. One cheetah was left bleeding while the gazelle managed to break free and escape. In a moment that defied all odds, the prey had fought back hard enough to defeat its hunters. This rare event reminded everyone watching that the wild doesn't always follow the script. Sometimes survival comes from courage and fight rather than flight. Perhaps one of the most surprising survival stories doesn't involve a fight at all, but an appetite so extreme that it makes the animal unique in its own right. Most people, when they think of snakes with massive appetites, picture giant pythons devouring deer, pigs, or even crocodiles whole. But the real champion of extreme eating is not a giant at all. It's a snake so small it can fit in the palm of your hand. Meet the Ganz's egg-eater, a harmless African snake with one of the strangest diets in the animal kingdom. Instead of chasing animals, this snake specializes entirely in eating eggs. Unlike other reptiles that might crush or pierce their food, the Ganz's egg-eater swallows eggs whole, sometimes ones that seem impossibly large compared to its tiny body. Scientists, including biologist Bruce Jane from the University of Cincinnati, discovered that when size ratios are taken into account, this little egg-eater can actually consume larger meals relative to its body size than any of the massive snakes we usually think of as eating champions. This tiny creature proves that in the world of survival and adaptation, size doesn't always matter. Sometimes it's the specialization that makes an animal remarkable. If there were a record for the most extreme eater in the animal kingdom, the Ganz's egg-eater would likely hold the title. This tiny snake proves that survival isn't just about strength or size. It's about smart choices. When it encounters an egg that's too large, it doesn't risk swallowing it. Instead, it rejects the meal to avoid serious internal injury. This kind of decision-making shows that survival in the wild isn't always about brute force. Sometimes it's about strategy and instinct. Every meal matters, but the wrong meal could be fatal. Another dramatic story comes from the African wilderness, where a leopard made the mistake of attacking a porcupine. Leopards are skilled predators, fast, powerful, and deadly, but even they can meet their match. In this encounter, the leopard pounced, expecting an easy meal. Instead, it was met with a wall of sharp quills. Each time the leopard lunged, it got jabbed. Its paws became bloody, its sides scraped, and its breathing grew heavy with exhaustion. Porcupines may seem slow and harmless, but their quills are deadly weapons. Sharp, barbed, and difficult to remove, they can wound even the fiercest hunter. Another leopard, in a separate encounter, tried the same hunt but failed just as badly. The porcupine moved like a living fortress, spinning and angling its sharp armor to face the threat. Both predators eventually gave up, bleeding, humiliated, and forced to retreat, while the porcupines walked away slowly and calmly, victorious without ever needing to chase or bite. On the coast, an equally unusual struggle unfolded between a seagull and a starfish. The gull swooped down, grabbed the starfish, and immediately tried to swallow it whole. But the starfish had other plans. With its arms spread wide and its tough, rigid body, it refused to go down easily. Some starfish even have chemical defenses, making them risky meals. The gull's throat stretched to its limit while the starfish's sharp limbs jutted awkwardly from its beak. It became a battle not just to eat, but to survive the act of eating. The bird risked choking, poisoning, or being forced to spit the meal back out. In these tense moments, the starfish wasn't just prey. It became a last-minute escape artist. What seemed like an easy snack nearly turned fatal for the gull, proving that even the most ordinary animals can find themselves locked in strange and dangerous battles for survival. One of the most intense clashes ever witnessed happened in South Africa's Kruger National Park, where tourists stumbled upon a fight between two of nature's most fearless creatures, a honey badger and a male leopard. This was no quick hunt, it was a war. The honey badger, armed with its thick skin and fearless attitude, fought relentlessly to survive. Several times it nearly slipped away, only to be caught again by the leopard's lightning-fast reflexes. The leopard tried repeatedly to end the fight with a crushing bite, but the badger refused to submit. Even when bitten in the paw and neck, it kept clawing, twisting, and growling with unstoppable determination. The leopard itself wasn't in perfect condition either. It bore the scars of a torn ear from a past fight. This wasn't predator versus prey in the usual sense. It was two warriors refusing to surrender, each driven by raw survival and defiance. It was the scene of a wounded hunter facing off against a creature built to endure almost anything. As the honey badger's cries began to weaken and the leopard finally dragged it away, the atmosphere grew heavy with silence and disbelief. What the witnesses had captured was not just a rare encounter but a raw and unfiltered glimpse into the harsh truth of the wild, where survival depends entirely on strength, timing, and the ability to adapt in the moment. Across the vast plains of North America, another story unfolds that shows how even animals often labeled as prey can become powerful fighters. Bison are massive herbivores, but despite living on plants, they are far from harmless. Their size, speed, and deadly horns make them some of the most dangerous animals to confront. Predators such as wolves and grizzly bears constantly stalk the same regions, searching for an easy meal, and young bison calves are tempting targets. Yet hunting bison is never without risk. Wolves usually rely on teamwork, isolating weaker members of a herd to gain the advantage. But when a mother bison is separated with her calf, instinct transforms her into a fearsome defender. One remarkable encounter showed a pack of wolves surrounding a mother and her young after breaking them away from the herd. Instead of fleeing, she charged directly into the attackers. The wolves circled and probed, trying to exhaust her, but she stood her ground. Her determination forced hesitation, and soon the herd began to move back toward her. Wolves know the danger of facing a united bison herd, so they eventually abandoned the hunt. It was not just an act of survival, but a display of courage, power, and strategy that proves bravery is not limited to predators. Sometimes the fiercest strength comes from prey refusing to surrender. In another encounter, a cat shows how instinct can sometimes become its own downfall. Cats are natural hunters, built with sharp claws, incredible reflexes, and confidence that often borders on arrogance. One feline spotted a snake and immediately attacked, swiping and pouncing with speed and precision. For a brief moment, it looked like the cat would win easily, but the snake, cornered and desperate, struck back with lightning speed. Its fangs sank into the cat's face, delivering venom in an instant. At first there was silence, but soon the effects became clear. The cat stumbled, its mouth foamed, and its body began to twitch as the poison spread through its system. The very qualities that gave the cat an edge, its boldness and aggression, had now placed it in grave danger. This was no simple hunt but a clash between agility and venom, a reminder that overconfidence in the wild can lead to deadly mistakes. The African savanna tells its own stories of reversal, where buffalo demonstrate that they are far from easy prey. Known for their size and raw power, buffalo often fight back against lions, the so-called kings of the wild. In one unforgettable encounter, a starving lion targeted a calf, its ribs visible and its body weakened from hunger. The lion must have thought the calf was an easy kill, but the herd had other plans. At first they hesitated, then they moved as one, charging like a wall of muscle and horns. One buffalo nearly launched the lion into the air with a powerful strike. The predator, now wounded and panicked, tried to retreat, but with no pride to back it up, it was outnumbered. A buffalo rammed it again, horns tearing flesh and hooves crushing bone. Even when the lion collapsed, bloody and broken, the herd did not stop. Another stomp, another charge, until the hunter was reduced to prey. For the buffalo, it was more than protection. It was dominance, a brutal reminder that in the wild, not all prey will flee. Some will fight back with a force that even top predators cannot withstand. Beneath the ocean's surface, where battles are silent but no less fierce, a tiny fish proves that intelligence can outshine brute strength. Groupers are powerful hunters, lurking in coral reefs and striking with sudden, crushing force. When one such predator clamped its jaws around a puffer fish, it seemed like an easy victory. But the puffer fish had a trick of its own. In an instant, it inflated its body to several times its normal size, transforming into a spiky, unmanageable ball. The grouper's mouth, designed to swallow prey whole, was useless against this sudden change. For several tense moments, the puffer fish simply held its form, waiting for the right time. Then, with perfect timing, it deflated just enough to slip free and swim away, leaving the frustrated grouper snapping at empty water. This was not just luck but the result of millions of years of evolution, giving a small, seemingly fragile fish the ability to outwit one of the ocean's strongest hunters. These stories remind us that nature is never predictable. The hunter is not always victorious, and the prey is not always helpless. Every encounter is a test of instinct, strength, strategy, and resilience, and the outcomes can surprise us in the most dramatic ways.